Sometimes a new start comes when it feels like everything is completely lost. When you are separated from everything and everyone that's familiar and secure. And almost always, a new start comes on the edge of trouble, and it can be terrifying. Where does it feel like trouble is separating you from the things that you usually find security and comfort in? Where is trouble making you vulnerable, severing you from old ways of managing, of controlling, of thinking, maybe even of believing? Perhaps the events of the last year and a half have challenged your view of God. You had a clear view of God's goodness. You knew how God dealt with his people, but trouble has opened up distance between experience and belief. And you're left wondering if you had it right and if your beliefs will hold. The story of Jacob teaches us that there is potential to meet God in the midst of our trouble. There is potential to meet God when we are bereft of our strategies for control, when we are separated from old securities and protections of past comforts. But it is not an easy meeting. It is a struggle. It is wrestling. But this wrestling also means that God is close. So one of the things that I hate most about the small package my brother puts me in is that our faces are almost touching. I have a lot of I like my personal space, and we're just so close. We are literally face to face. I can smell his breath. And in verse 30 of this chapter, Jacob names this place where he wrestles God Peniel, which means I have seen God face to face. The wrestling brought him face to face with God. And Jacob was tenacious. It says he wouldn't let go, and nor should we. So are you in a wrestling match with God? Engage it. Get in close. Grapple. Ask questions. Maybe make demands. Don't give up. Hold on. Smell God's breath. Don't be afraid of the separation that trouble brings between you and whatever made your life feel controlled in the past. This is a chance to wrestle things to the ground, or maybe even to get wrestled to the ground. So, does God have you pinned right now? What is God forcing you to deal with? What part of yourself or your life or your past needs to be named? What things in your life do you avoid coming face to face with because they reveal parts of your character that you might not be proud of? In Jacob's story, his name, his character, his need to face his past, and his meeting with God, they're all kind of wrapped up together. And they are with us as well. When we tell the truth about what we've done, an amazing thing happens. God gives us a new name. God tells us a deeper truth about who we are. We are not the sum of our mistakes. We are the ones who wrestle. We wrestle with ourselves and with our past, but ultimately, we wrestle with God. Jacob fought for this blessing his entire life. But the truth was, he didn't have to fight for it. He didn't have to grasp it. He didn't have to lie or try to lay claim on it himself. It was his all along. He simply had to trust God. But it wasn't until he was pinned to the ground that he stayed still long enough to be reminded that the blessing was given, not earned. Jacob came out of that encounter with God with the blessing that he so wanted, but he limped away. And every step that he took from that day forward was a reminder that the blessing came with a wound. And this is true for all of us. Blessings come with wounds. But the wound is the very means by which God pins us down, and through which we experience the truth that whatever it is that we have been fighting for our whole lives has been ours all along. The wound becomes the means of blessing. The blessing and the wound go hand in hand. My uncle is an amazing person. He is kind and thoughtful and wise. He is one of the most generous and gracious men that I know. He is blessed. But he has had more than his fair share of broken bones. I, through my wrestling, had a wound, but I also got a blessing. Through it, I learned my own identity as God's beloved child, as the one who brings God joy. The blessing and the wound go hand in hand.